And those shows, it's amazing that, like you said, those shows still exist, even though you've been doing it almost 40 years. You think I've seen everything, I've done everything, which I guess leads me into my next question. What is the worst show that you've ever had? These are always fun.
It's funny because I was on the show and we were talking about this, and I most of the time with comics, the worst show that you've had, we always put it into early stages. Like, no matter how long you've done it, if you go, what's the worst show you ever had? The first thing that pops in your mind is, oh, I did this show and you were early on. It was early on in your career that you did it. And it's because it gets measured. The further along you go, it gets measured up against better shows and better knowledge. So even the fact of me saying, because when's the last time I'd say the last time I had a set that was not enjoyable was probably 2 months ago or whenever it was. I guess we've been doing this for 4 months, the quarantine. So prior to this, so let's see, it's in February on a ship where I didn't enjoy the show, but the show wasn't bad because you listen to the people and go, no, that was good. But now you're measuring it against other things. But still, the worst show, early on, I don't know when it was, I was at the Naval Recruiting Center or a Naval Training Center in San Diego, NTC in San Diego, did a show there, and it was horrific. They wanted nothing to do with anything I had to say at all. And that always, for now, it will always stand out as being the worst show that I've ever had.
Wow. Was it just like set up poorly, or was it just they weren't digging you, or?
They just didn't dig me. They just didn't get me at all. And I don't know what it was that I was doing at the time, because no matter what, I switched gears so many times in that set too. Granted, I was very young, so I didn't have many gears to switch to, but I was like, okay, well, maybe this, a little more edge, but even edge to me at that point wasn't really edgy. And, but it just didn't go. It was just horrible. I think from the very beginning was the problem, because this was the intro. The guy goes, ladies and gentlemen, Lamont the comedian. Like, yeah, that's not going to go well. When you're introduced by your occupation, that's not going to be going well at all.
That's funny. So if you could take the listeners and the viewers through, what goes through your mind as you, like, when you walk into a room and you go, uh-oh, this probably isn't going to go well. What goes through your mind as during a set when it's just not hitting?
Well, in the set or when you walk into the room? Because there are times where you like I do a lot of recon when I'm walking to a room to see what's going to happen in the room, and to have the luxury of not going up first. It happens when you're in that set and doing it. It's just a lot of thinking of, okay, well, maybe I'll switch this. Maybe I'll go to this. How about I change this? How about, there's more thinking than there is talking actually that's going on while you're on stage doing that thing, because you're trying for everything in your head. You're like, let me grasp here. And then you're also listening to where there might be a little bit of a pulse. You go, okay, well, there's something there. Now let me mine down that particular thing. And then if all else fails, then you try to go to the audience. But if they don't like you, then they're just not going to talk to you. And then there's nothing you can do.